What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening is not just a line from Jesus Christ Superstar. Oh, that's a great musical. It is instead where we're spending our time and our energy today, giving everybody a peek, a look, a certain little bit of information behind the curtain to see what is the deal with Real Brokerage. I am at Real Brokerage, and I've been at Real Brokerage now for just over 2 years. As we record this, it's September 21st. And I've learned a lot about this company over the last 2 years. I will tell you, it is really good. It's not a 10 out of 10 by any means, but it is striving every day to become better. And I love the fact that the leadership and the culture is that we have not arrived, and instead we're still striving, trying to be our best. Here's who I think is watching this right now. I need to identify the audience, right? I've learned that if we can talk with specificity, we're going to do really well. We have some people who are currently at Real, and they're here to watch, to learn, to see what a big mouth like me is going to say about Real and the things that are there. Maybe they can learn something, or maybe they feel like they need to push back on something, but we'll have some people that are here at Real. Number two is some people who will never, ever, ever want to even go to Real. They're a part of another brokerage, and you're proud to be at your brokerage. I want to say welcome. Good to have you here at the party. I think Real is fantastic. And even if you don't like it, I still like the fact that you're watching to learn about it, because if you learn more, you're going to say, well, maybe we can make our brokerage better. And there's enough to go around. But the people I'm talking to today are those that are maybe feeling like, oh, I need a change of some sort. My brokerage is not a 10 out of 10 right now, or I see what's happening and the energy that's being pushed out and shared, and the excitement and the fun that people at Real are having, and maybe there's a little bit of FOMO. So most people are in one of those three camps, but I'm only going to speak to, for the next little while, I'm only going to speak to people who are considering Real as a possible place to land. And I want to take you back to where I was about 2.5 years ago. Okay. This is what I saw. I saw a change on the horizon. I saw that the industry itself was shaping itself into something different than where I was. See, I was in 2005, 2006, I got my real estate license. I was at a mom and pop brokerage. 2008, I landed at Keller Williams. Loved my time at KW. In 2013, I parted ways. In fact, I got kicked out. I'm kind of a bad boy, if you can't tell by this super bad boy polo I'm wearing. It just smells of testosterone, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. 2013, after I got kicked out, my team fell apart. We started over from scratch. Basically, I went to a rebound girlfriend brokerage for 9 months. And then in 2014, I opened up my own brokerage. Oh, I was at the top of the totem pole. I was where I thought I would always be, is I would be solo. I would be my name, my decisions, all of that. And then I saw COVID accelerated some big changes in the industry. COVID was a thing in which I saw people were now operating virtually more than they were in office. And then I saw this company called EXP, who I have such love and respect for. I saw EXP had accelerated massively. And I'll be honest, I had some FOMO. I had some FOMO saying, like, shoot, they look like they're having a ton of fun. They're making a bunch of money. They're making a splash in the industry. They're a part of something that's special. Like, I want to be a part of something like that. But even more so, 2.5 years ago, I saw that the industry was changing and how people functioned. I saw that agents were being drawn to new opportunities that they maybe had not yet been exposed to previously. The best thing that was out there was what KW was offering, and KW was offering profit share. Now, I've made money from KW's profit share since I joined there in 2008. I, in fact, attracted somebody over there that now is running a large division of KW. And so she's brought over a bunch of people, and I financially benefited from that. Now, KW just made their changes. I record this at September 21st, 2023, and KW just announced some changes by their ALC. And so the money I was making is going to be shrunk by 90%. That's a son of a gun, go figure. But that was the best thing that was out there, was profit share. It was a chance that agents had a chance to make some cash. But then I saw, like, hey, our commissions are getting pushed. The idea that you could have ownership in a company was really huge. Stock is a big deal. I talked to Sharon. Sharon is the president of Real, and he's one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. And he talks about how so many people are drawn to a company because of fees and because of like revenue share, and those are super fun. But he's like, the thing that people need to look at is ownership of that stock. Well, that's something that we need to pay attention to. It's that idea that the money is making dividends over and over and over again, and we don't do anything for that. He started to talk about ownership in such a way in which I leaned in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not even touching or thinking about the stock that I have in Real. But I saw 2.5 years ago that I had a fiduciary responsibility for my family and for my team, that I had to set ourselves up and to have the greatest chance to win financially down the road. It was changing 2.5 years ago. And so I went out to New York City, and whenever I hear New York City, I just hear that old Pace County commercial, New York City, get a rope. And if you don't know that reference, I don't know if we can hang out. It's a really great reference. But nonetheless, I went and I met with Tamir Poleg, who is the CEO of Real. I met with him, his C-level executives, and his board. And I went out to New York City, and I wanted to actually see if this company aligned. Because remember, I said I saw EXP, and I saw what they were doing for their agents. I saw the opportunity that was there, and I saw the industry changing. But I'm a praying man, and I prayed saying, hey, is EXP where I'm supposed to be? And my gut never told me that it was. It's a great company, but it didn't fit me. And that's okay. It didn't fit me. But if I was going to find something that fit, I needed to go and I needed to feel it. I needed to experience it. And so in the height of COVID in March of 2021, I went out to New York City, and it was like a ghost town there. But we were in a meeting with some really impressive people at Real. And I came out there with some other teams, and we were the biggest whale they had on the hook at the time. And so they gave us a day and a half of their time. And I was like, is this company what I dream it to be? Is it what I think it could be? And I was sold, not at Real being a perfect company, but I was sold at the character and the leadership. Obviously, I saw the opportunity and the change in market, but then when I saw the heartbeat and the character and the quality of people, I prayed about it. And I trusted my gut, and everything about it screamed, Erik, this is where you should be. This is where you should lead your team. This is where you could lead people in the industry too, because this is such a special place. And so with that, that's how this all came to be. That's the reason why I was exploring things. I saw a bunch of opportunity, and I'm going to unfold that here as I go through a slideshow so I can go through. Again, those of you watching live, if you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But I want to share with you where my mind has been. And so we're going to go on a little bit of a journey to see what's the buzz about Real. Why are people like me so excited about it? And I want to be clear with you is it's not about revenue share. It's not. Revenue share is like a sprinkle on top of this cupcake. And so many people think that that's why you love Real, is because it's about revenue share. And don't get me wrong, I am making fat cash. That sounds weird to say. I don't ever like talking about money, but I'm making fat cash with it. And yet that's only the bonus. It's only the sprinkle. It's only the cherry on top. I got to talk to you about the cupcake. I got to talk to you about the frosting. I got to talk to you about all those good things. So that's where we're going to go here with our time. So let me share with you what's the buzz. And I got to say, I hear this in conversation. I see it online. I see it in chat groups. And so many people say that Real is EXP 2.0. And I got to tell you, Real is very similar to EXP and completely different than EXP. Okay, let's talk about the similarities. It's a virtual cloud-based model that has low fees and that has the opportunity in which to earn stock and revenue share. Those are the similarities in terms of model. But my guess is some of you will say Remax and Coldwell Banker are really different, although fundamentally they look the same. Fundamentally, Remax and Coldwell Banker are local ownership, and then you have a franchise fee, and then you sometimes have a desk fee, and then you have, all right. So like we can look at all those things as fundamentally the same, but Coldwell Banker and Remax are two very, very different companies, as is Real and EXP. So let's talk about the differences because it's important. I believe that Real has the benefit of being second to market. No slight to EXP, but they have the benefit of being second to market. You know who else was second to market? It was Apple, right? BlackBerry was number one. Apple was number two. The iPhone was number two. Google is second to market. Yahoo and AOL were first. Second to market gets to rip off the things that are good, and then they get to do things differently by learning from the mistakes or the things that maybe got away from them. Okay. I believe that Real has the gift of being able to lean in and to make culture and growth paralleling important pieces in the future of their business. Who gets there first determines the way in which other people follow. And so Real has leaned in very intentionally in the beginning to make sure that nobody colored outside the lines. Growth can be messy. It can be loud. It can be chaotic. And when you're trying to grow, sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The loud ones are the ones that create the reputation that's out there. And I think that Real has been cognizant of this. And so they've been really intentional on making sure that they've gotten the right people rather than the most people. So I say all of this in the idea that we need to understand that Real is intentional on not being the biggest. Real is instead intentional on being the best. And the byproduct of being the best is you'll eventually be the biggest. Sharon says that bigger is not better, better is better. And so Real is focused on being better. I don't know what they're saying internally at EXP, so I'm only going to share with you what I know to be true at Real, is that they're focused on being the best. And being the best will eventually mean that we're going to be the biggest. So there's some wonderful opportunity there. One of our viewers is asking if these will be on slides. I'm going to have a lot of these things on our slides. Okay. And so hopefully you can capture that. Otherwise, we will share the replay with those of you that have signed up, and this will be available on our YouTube channel as well. Some of the other things that you need to understand is differences between EXP and Real. EXP has 7 levels in which you can get paid when it comes to revenue share. Real has 5. At EXP, you can earn a lot more, but the likelihood of you earning more is actually going to come true at Real. Let me share with you a couple of models, okay? EXP currently, as I record this, has almost 90,000 agents. And the number of agents that have unlocked all 7 tiers are roughly 100 agents. So 1 in every 900 people have unlocked all 7 tiers. That's not a lot. Those that have unlocked all 7 tiers either have really large teams or they got in the first few years. Rare have I seen somebody come on board in the last couple of years and have had the ability to unlock all 7 tiers. In addition, EXP is built like this, where Real is built. EXP is built like this, where Real is built like this. So EXP is built where you get paid different fractional amounts of the revenue share depending on where they are in your tier. So first tier pays out between $2,000 and $3,000, and the second tier pays out a different number. And then you actually make the most money on tiers 6 and 7. But remember, I just said most people don't unlock tiers 6 and 7. And in addition, EXP is a $16,000 cap, while Real is a $12,000 cap. So that extra $4,000 is getting paid to the company and is getting paid to those who you maybe don't even know or aren't connected with on tier 6 and tier 7. Now, Real is built like this, where if you have $12,000 that you're paying towards your cap, and I'll go through some of these details here in just a moment, but if you have $12,000 that you're paying towards your cap, your first tier gets the most. They get $4,000 of that 12, and then it's $3,200 on the second tier, then $2,400, $1,600, and $800. And so you make the most on the people that you're the most connected with. See, the purpose is not to have a few people win in a huge, mighty sort of way. That's not how Real wanted to build themselves. They instead wanted to build themselves saying, like, you can make almost all your revenue share on those that you're the most connected with. I mean, doesn't that make sense that if we're connected to someone, we should financially benefit the most from that? In addition, your chance of getting paid more at Real is true for probably 99.9% of people. Now, does that mean that 0.1% loses? I'm in that 0.1%. I'm lucky enough to be in that 0.1%. and I'm not losing. I'm winning. I'm winning and grinning. So let me share this with you, okay? Final piece. Again, you need to hear this clearly. I love EXP and I want EXP to win. I, in fact, think that EXP has a great model that so many people like Real have shared in. They are the trailblazer, and I'm so grateful for them being there. I think that the biggest competition that Real has, who is our competition? It's not EXP. Our competition are people at mom and pop brokerages and at places like KW and Remax and Coldwell. I think that's the competition because those people are in antiquated models that I don't think will stand the test of time, that there's too many hands in that cookie jar and too many fees and too many lack of opportunities that agents need. I used to work in ministry. I worked at a church for almost a decade. And the people who I saw that were meanest to each other were the Baptists to the Lutherans, to the non-denominational, to the Catholics. And they all just like butted heads. And I see that happening right now with Real and EXP. I don't think that that's healthy because I actually think that we should be going after the agnostics and the atheists and those that are worshiping other gods. I think that that's what a church should be doing, not just butting heads. And I think that what Real and EXP should be doing. And it feels ironic because I've talked about this, but you need to understand there's differences. And this is just as much an endorsement of EXP as it is of Real, but I'm going to talk to you honestly about the differences between the two companies. The difference is this, is I'd say of the people that I have in my sandbox, in my family tree here, about a third of them have told me, hey, it can't be EXP for me, but I see the model and I see the opportunity. Honestly, a third of the people that have come over to the company and landed in my family tree have been turned off for one reason or another to EXP. And it's just a truth. Maybe it's local people that they don't align with, or maybe it's a bad stigma, or maybe they got burned in a file. Nobody knows, but Real is new for most people right now. It doesn't have a bad taste in the mouths of some people. And so there is some ripe opportunity that is worth paying attention to. So that for me would be the differences and the similarities between Real and EXP. There's a whole lot more, but I'm not going to belabor this point much longer. So I had somebody recently, in fact, this was within the last week or so. They're like, hey, I have a really big team or a really big brokerage I'm considering coming over. Can I get a bonus? I asked Tamir for a bonus 2.5 years ago. I sat with him in New York City. I'm like, hey, Tamir, I'm a big whale. I have a big team. I have a coaching company. Like, hey, can I get a big bonus? And he said to me something that I'll never forget. He's like, Erik, if our marriage begins because I offer you the nicest dowry, it doesn't mean we're going to have a good marriage. I went, son of a gun. I really hate that answer because I had some big cash offers on the table. And let it be known right now, gang, I don't see many people buying things unless they don't have enough value. See, if somebody offers you $100,000 sign-on bonus, a $10,000, $1 million, whatever the number may be, if somebody offers you a signing bonus in real estate right now, my assumption and belief is because it is that they don't have anything else to stand on other than that cash infusion, that they're missing some value. And Real has taken the stance to say, we don't give bonuses because the model is the bonus. If you bring over people, if you run a really healthy business, you're going to get paid infinitely so, which is so much more than the dollars and cents that are there. I've seen companies throw around crazy, irresponsible money to recruit and attract people, or to recruit and attract and to retain people. And Real's not in the game of doing that because the model already has you winning. The company's operating on itty-bitty dollars. And the reason why they're operating on itty-bitty dollars is because they want to put as much money as possible back in the hands of those of us that are growing it. I like that. I'm going to bet on that every time. So if you're here looking for a bonus or a sign-on bonus, guess what? It's not going to happen. But what will happen is you'll be in a model that will give you more wins, from stock growth to attraction opportunities, to really great training, to fantastic culture, to undeniable leadership, to tech that can't be beat right now. All these things are already built into the system, and you're already winning the moment you sign up. So I want to be really clear. When I saw EXP's growth, during their real rise, their meteoric rise. I saw their stock go from $2 a share roughly to about $150 a share. That is a 75x growth of their stock. It's unbelievable. Of course, we would want to jump on that opportunity. We all see the opportunity that if you get in early, Real is 12,000 agents right now. If you get in early, there's a windfall that could happen. Now, EXP stock is back into reality, just like most stocks that went way up are back into reality. And so their stock right now is about $17 a share, but it's been split. So it's really $34 a share. That means that stock has 17x'd itself from $2 to $34. Of course, I love that opportunity. Do I think real stock is going to $34? No, I mean, it's irresponsible of me to say that it's going to, but do I think it's going to grow? Oh, hell yeah, I do. I absolutely think that it's going to grow. But if I'm here to pitch you on the opportunity that getting in early is why you should come to Real, what happens when there's 30,000 agents and it's not early anymore? If my value proposition is getting in early, we don't have much to stand on. And so I'm not here to tell you that you should just join Real. I'm here to say that these companies like Real and EXP, they are worth paying attention to, and they're worth considering moving to, because we got to look at the long game. Okay. In addition to that, I'm not here to say that you can only find opportunity when you get in early. Of course, there's great opportunity to get in early, but in 3 years' time, when Real is no longer the new kid on the block, we have to make sure that there's still value worth sticking around for. So with all that, here's some things we need to notice. Inman just recognized Real as the innovator of the year. That's a big deal. This company is doing some stuff with tech and opportunity that is unparalleled in the industry. There's over 12,000 agents. It's publicly traded on NASDAQ. REAX is the handle. I've invested so much of my own cash into it, because I believe wholeheartedly that this company is really healthy and is going places. In fact, let's take a look at the numbers, okay? In the last 12 months, these are looking at through Q2 2023 numbers, okay? 65% revenue increase. That is a huge deal. Over 12,000 agents. That's giant. 48 states. We're just waiting on 2 more to open up. DC and 4 Canadian provinces. People have asked me, is Real going international outside of Canada? My answer is probably. But right now they're making sure that they keep the main thing. And I love that. Over 7 billion in transactions. That's huge. EBITDA, which is a fancy business word for earnings before. And so you can go through the rest of the acronym here. And you need to understand that a lot of people have challenged Real by saying, well, it's not profitable yet. And you have to understand that profitability for a growing company is a choice. Okay. Real could choose 12 months ago that they could have been profitable by simply putting less money and opportunity in the pockets of agents. Now, what would that have done to stunt the growth? What would that have done? Real purchased mortgage and they purchased title. That costs millions of dollars. And that is obviously huge. And Dave, thank you for clearing up what EBITDA is, because I was stumbling on it, but it's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. I know that, but as I'm going fast, my brain was like, okay, what's the I again? So thank you. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. But through all this, we need to understand that profitability is a choice. And Real has made some choices in the last 9 months. They chose to add on a couple of fees. Nobody likes fees, but of course, with inflation and with a change in the industry, they made sure that they could make choices that was a little bit for agents, but would lead to profitability for the company. And so every choice that Real is making is to work towards profitability, not just through EBITDA, but that shows up on the bottom line as well. And so mark my words, this company is consciously choosing their steps wisely. They're choosing to make sure that they can accelerate growth while protecting culture, while pursuing profit. Abandonment of one of those is disruption of that entire system. And I'm confident as the day is long that Real's profit is going to start breeding cash for us. Those of us who are owners in the company, that's anybody who owns even a single share of stock. So with all that being said, I need to also name, because it's irresponsible of me to sit here and tell you that Real is a 10 out of 10. It's not. Real is not a 10 out of 10. Here's what I don't love about Real is that growth is messy. When you're on a growth trajectory, not everything is in place. There's not all the answers that are there. Rules are being made up as we figure out, oh, shoot, we got to make a rule for this as well. And being new sometimes has headaches associated with it. If you need a company to jump in that has everything figured out, Real's not for you. Okay. Also, the tech isn't perfect. When I came over 2 years ago, it sometimes took longer than it should for agents to get paid out. If all the paperwork was done now, it takes 24 to 48 hours, but it wasn't always that way. Sometimes it took up to a week. It's not happening currently, but it wasn't perfect right away. When we opened up Canada, oh my gosh, that was a headache for every Canadian that joined in early. It wasn't perfect by any means. There's a heavy addiction to technology in this company. And when that tech doesn't have all the right answers, it can create some headaches and some problems. Now, there's not a ton of headaches, but yeah, it's not perfect yet. Number 3, the galvanizing has been restricted. Some people have wanted to shout from the mountaintops, but Real has been really conscious of making sure that if we're leaning on galvanizing and getting excited for this company, we need to follow every single rule. And so there have been some handcuffs and some limitations that have kept people from being really fiery about it. Now, the fear is becoming a headache for people who are on the other side of that receiving of it. And so now they're starting to loosen the reins a little bit, but right now it's restricted some of our growth. It's also protected our culture, and yet it's restricted some of our growth. Virtual companies, they operate with a different rhythm. I remember hosting a mastermind years ago, and somebody raised their hand and they said, "Hey, how do you create culture in a virtual brokerage?" And I'm like, well, that's a great question for EXP. And I wasn't with Real at the time. Now it's the question that I ask every day is, how do we make sure that we're going to operate with a rhythm that contains and continues to engage people? It's a different rhythm that you have to find. And then finally, some decisions have received pushback. As Real has had to make up rules along the way, they haven't always made the right choices. Here's what I've loved, though, is when Real has made the wrong choice or they've misstepped, they've listened and they've quickly adapted. They haven't dug their heels and said, sorry, dudes, this is the way it is. If they've listened to a lot of people, give pushback, name frustration, if they've done that and it's been met with resistance, they've reshaped. Love the character. I don't know many companies that still feel like moldable clay when there's 12,000 people that are there. And yet we have 12,000 people that are owners and everybody has a voice. It's pretty special. So with that, let's dive in. 4 things. Please write this down. There's 4 things that I looked at and that I think you should look at when it comes to figuring out, is Real going to be the brokerage for you? Value, opportunity, tools, and culture. We're going to break these down and I'll do my best. I'm going to go fast on these, so take screenshots when you need to. Of course, the dream of every single agent is this, is I want to work less and make more. I think Real is trying to keep that as a North Star. How do we make the lives of agents easier? And how do we make more money stay in their pocket? I mean, seriously, wouldn't that be great? Some of you that are watching right now, you're at an independent brokerage. You're at a place where you're not paying a brokerage because you are the brokerage. That's where I was at. And I recognize, like, is us investing more dollars into training and culture and connection and tech and revenue share and stock opportunities, is that actually one step back for 10 steps forward? It's the bet I made as my company, and I don't regret it for 1 second because I see that as a huge opportunity. And so the goal is, again, I want to work less and make more. And if that's the North Star that we have for our businesses, you have to ask yourself, does Real provide your chance to do that? And if you're just looking at the dollars and cents today, it's going to be a loss. It is. It's going to be a loss because you're going to be paying in, if you're at an independent brokerage, you're going to be paying in more money than you were before. I had a conversation earlier today. This is one of my dearest allies in the industry. He owns an independent brokerage. They run as a teamage. They have 60 agents. And he's been watching me talk about Real for years now, 2 years, but he's been watching me talk about it. I've never pitched him on it, but he's like, hey, Erik, can we have a conversation? I just want to start looking. Because here's what he said to me. He's like, I want to retire in 7 or 8 years. And dude, I don't know if there's a single person that would buy a brokerage today. 5, 6 years ago, brokerages were selling, but I don't know who's going to buy a brokerage today. So I asked him, like, what's your plan? He's like, I don't know. And so we started to talk about this, and he wants to figure out, how does he take his brokerage that he's not paying any fees to anybody for because he owns it? How does he take that and actually turn this into a cash ahead thing? By the time we were done with a customized 45-minute conversation, I'm pretty convinced he's going to come over. Even though he's not paying any money to anyone. He's saying that if I pay some money today, I'm going to be that much more cash ahead, and my agents are going to be cash ahead. And this is going to be a win for everyone. I just have to take that one step to say, I gotta choose to have the one step back today, knowing that the 10 steps forward are going to come. So here's the numbers. I'm not going to belabor this. It's too long, but I will tell you, between your cap and fees and everything else, if you're a solo agent, meaning you're going to pay a $12,000 cap, and then you're going to have some fees tied to that as well. If you're doing 20 transactions a year, you're probably going to pay in $15,000, $14,000 to $15,000. That's all you're going to pay in. But you got to understand, what do you get in terms of the value? And I'll cover that here in a moment. But let's talk about actual fees, expenses, costs. If you're a solo agent that produces 20 deals a year, you're going to be $14,000 or $15,000. Of course, it depends on the price point that you're in and that sort. But that's a rough, fairly good estimation. If you're on a team and you're an agent that, and by the way, you see the 4,000 or 6,000 there. It's that third bullet point. If your team does over $100 million in volume, your agents have an opportunity to be on a $4,000 cap. If you do under 100 million in volume, you're going to be on a $6,000 cap for your agents. So an agent on a team in which does over $100 million, they're going to be the 4,000. If they do 20 transactions a year, they're going to be $5,000 to $5,500 in cash out. Okay. If they do 30 or 40, it's probably going to be more like $6,500 to $7,000. That's cash out. We haven't talked about cash back in yet. We're just talking about cash out. Now, the opportunity, though, is this. Okay. I own, run, and operate a large team in Fargo, North Dakota. I'm guessing that for every one agent I hire, we probably say no to like 4 or 5 agents. We're like, yeah, I'm not sure they'd be the right fit. These are people who are either getting their license or are currently licensed. We're like, yeah, we're not the right fit. But what if you had a landing pad for them? And what if you said, hey, you don't even have to be on my team. You can just come and join Real. Like, this is the least expensive, highest value place that you can find. And so it opens up really big opportunity. And I love that. The next chance is, man, you have team members that are currently with you, but maybe they're not going to be with you for forever. And so are they just going to leave? Or are you setting them? Are they going to leave and join another brokerage? Or are you setting them up for a huge chance to win because they're remaining in your world? Maybe they're at Real and doing something else. This happened to me 9 months ago, 10 months ago. I had a bunch of agents leave, but they all stayed with Real. And so I actually now make more on revenue share with them. I don't make money with them on the team, but like, I set them up for a win and I feel good about that. And now I'm still winning because I'm still benefiting with revenue share. But here's the piece that I really want to draw attention to is something that's called an elite agent. You literally will get paid money through stock. You'll get paid to be a high performer at Real. So team leaders, you'll probably all qualify to be elite. If you're a solo agent doing 30-ish transactions a year, maybe 30 to 35, depending on your price point, you're going to get paid to be at Real. Here's how it looks is you'll pay in your $12,000 in your cap. You'll pay $750 in your annual fee. You'll pay your BOP fee, which is $30 a file, and then you'll pay $6,000 in transaction fees. All that money adds up to being about $19,000. But if you hit elite agent, they're going to pay you up to $24,000 in today's current stock value. That's just today's value. Do I expect the stock to 17x or 75x like EXPs did? No, but I sure do expect it to 3, 4, and 5x. And so not only are you making $24,000 in today's stock value, but that's going to accrue as it vests over 3 years. That's a ton of money. Now, remember, I told you I was in conversation with somebody recently who was looking to say, I want to get out in 7 or 8 years. This new thing that Real offers called Willable Revenue Share is enough to I think, have a windfall of people run towards it. Gang, I've been buying investment properties for the last 10 years, and I have currently about 65 to 70 doors. I have to do an updated count. 65 to 70 doors of property that I own. And my portfolio is worth millions and millions of dollars. But I have one group that has cost me about $100,000 this year, and it cost me $100,000 last year because city inspectors and bad tenants and landlords and bad property management and new roofs, new roofs on places have all cost me like a ton of money. I'm just losing money on that. Do you understand that this willable revenue share doesn't ever have bills associated with it? It doesn't ever have broken furnaces associated with it. It doesn't ever have bad tenants. Our job is to take great care of people, but for those that are drawn to and attracted to that financial opportunity, that is a greater gift that I'm giving my family, is my 2 years at Real versus my 10 years of investing and my investing of millions of dollars of my own cash. The gift of willable rev share means more for my family than the investment properties ever will. That should be enough to have people say, I need to start planning and seeing the future. I need to start saying that this industry is not going to pay me like it has in the past. And instead, I need to create new revenue streams, and I need to find new opportunities through ownership and stock, through attraction of other agents, through ancillary businesses and services that I'll get to here in just a moment. Okay, so there's some big wins. Again, a brief look into the Elite Agent Stock Awards that are here. Screenshot this or pause it and get a chance to see what it takes. Now, agent attraction, of course, is a huge value stack that's here. You earn revenue share. You can co-sponsor, which means that what's so great for the new person coming over, let's say Jeff wants to come over. Jeff can name both myself and Dave as sponsors. I get a portion of Jeff. Dave gets a portion of Jeff in terms of earning when they win. But that means that Jeff wins 2 times instead of 1. And that is such a big deal. That is the unique thing that Real offers that no other company like it offers, is we want to help make sure that the person who gets sponsored has more wins. You, of course, earn stock when you attract people as well, and you're gifting them a chance to come in and grow this organization with you. People always wonder, how is revenue share paid out? I'm not going to belabor this point, but you need to understand that this is what is set by Real, and it is ripe and ridiculous with opportunity. So again, screenshot this if you need to, or pause it as you should. Okay. Finally, I need to have me and my team members to win more. Is one of the main reasons why I led us over to Real. I had that fiduciary responsibility to set them up to win. And so now myself and my team members can win by making money through owning title. Real Title is up and running, and people, if it's active in your state, can have ownership shares in it. You even don't have to bring your deals there. You should, right? Because you're going to help benefit the company, but you don't even have to bring your deals there. It's pretty wild. Mortgage is that same way. There's a chance for you to win as that company wins. And it's these new alternate revenue streams that have agents far cash ahead, regardless of the dollars that they're paying in. Because if you remember, I showed you back here, boop, 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 boop. Hey, you're going to pay in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, $15,000 a year. But this is how you get all your money back, is all these different ways. Through stock ownership, through title, through mortgage, through agent attraction. There's great ways to earn money. And all of us need to be paying attention to other ways to earn money in this industry. It's not just through selling real estate. If we can monetize and make 9 different ways to make money, why wouldn't we? Okay, remember I said there's 4 things. The first was value. Second was tools. Here we are with the tools that Real offers. The first is our custom app. It's called Reason, Rezen. This app is no joke. Literally, we're running our entire businesses. Our transaction management software is all in there. Real Signature is in there. We don't have to have DocuSign. You don't have to do all these things. It's all in one spot. All the communication with your broker. You don't have to find an email that was tucked away. It's all right there. I can find out everything from when is my next transaction going to pay out, to how many people I have in my downline, to what fees do I have that I haven't paid yet. You can find out all of that on one app. Gang, it's no joke. It's the reason why Real won the Innovator of the Year award just a couple of months ago at Inman. There's a customized transaction platform that lives inside Reason. It has allowed us as a team to employ less administrators because it now offers so many great things. AI, of course, is the topic of conversation in and amongst every keynote that's happening right now. AI and the play that it has within Real is going to advance so many things. It's in its early stages still, and it's still being built out, but you can find almost every answer you need by simply asking Leo, who is Real's chatbot is named Leo. Real Signature, as I mentioned, also is a big deal, of course, to have that all a part of one thing. Literally, think about how much savings you'll have when you eliminate your transaction management software and you eliminate that extra expense that you have for DocuSign each month. And you can get rid of all those extra expenses. You have less labor-intensive things also. There's huge, huge wins when you're combining all those things together. And then Chime is, you're never required to use Chime as a CRM, but it's offered at a really low discount if you did want to jump on that. And of course, I'm all about saving money, so long as it's the right tool for you. Of course, if you have better agents as well, you're going to have better client experiences. So there's massive trainings that happen within Workplace every day and an international network. Here's the thing that I never thought of as a guy who was at my own brokerage previous is, if there was a referral coming to Fargo, oftentimes people say, well, who do I know at this company? I have a guy that is joining here soon in South Carolina. This was an active conversation that we had. He's like, hey, how many agents are in my market in South Carolina? I'm like, well, there's not very many. He's like, so you mean to tell me that we'll get referrals from other people at Real all across the country? I'm like, yeah, 100% you will. There's earnings that are sitting there waiting for you to join a network like Real, where everybody cares about the people that are there and they want them to win. And so especially getting in early allows you to build those relationships even deeper. Okay. I said there's 4. We talked about value, then we talked about tools. Now we're talking about culture. And this one is a difference maker. So I'm going to take a breath. Here it is. This is no slight to EXP. And yet I think they unintentionally got it wrong. EXP created unintentional silos. The design was good, but the execution, I think, is flawed. Because if I'm not in Jeff's silo at EXP, I can't get his trainings and I can't get his value, and I don't have him as a resource. And I'm instead in the silo of the person that I named as my sponsor. And so what happens is oftentimes there's infighting or jealousy, and there's value that's given to some, but not to all. And Real has the benefit of being second to market on this. They have a chance to say, you know, we should be sharing everything with everyone. We should make sure that if it's offered to one group, it's offered to all. Now, don't get me wrong. There are pockets and communities that are founded based on mutual interest. But what you'll find is that it's not exclusive. Everybody's welcome. It's not the mean girls, you can't sit with us kind of idea. Everybody is welcomed at that table. It is discoverable. So it's not this like hidden group, and it's an open invitation. That is a beautiful thing, because there are people at Real that aren't connected to me in my family tree that I still get to benefit from. There are people I can name as co-sponsors in 2 different family trees. And so I get masterful connection. I will tell you, it is still really important in who you name as your sponsor, because that sponsor should have that fiduciary responsibility to make sure that you are seen, heard, valued, cared for, as well as deeply connected. That person is a resource for you. And so picking your sponsor still matters, but it doesn't exclude you from any other family tree that's there. That is the stark difference between Real and any other company like ours. I heard recently that hustle and grind is not going to get you to the top. Alignment with the right people is. And I recognize that early on when I went solo building my own brokerage, that was an ego move for me. I thought I had it all figured out, and I'm recognizing how much this industry is changing and how little I know. There's some really brilliant people out there, and getting aligned with people the likes of Sharon and Tamir and all my great cohorts across the industry here, getting aligned with them is far better than hustling and grinding. It is like the creme de la creme. Is alignment takes out my mistakes, and it has me move so much faster and more proficient, and I'm making better choices because I'm surrounded by people who want me to win. I'm no longer standing alone. I'm aligned, and that means I don't have to hustle and grind as much. I instead get to win earlier with less risk. It's really great. Finally, I want to talk about culture is best when it's felt. So here's what it comes down to. If you feel culture, you're going to find that people care about you, that there's an energy. Culture is not about happy hours, and culture is not about it's not about the things you're given. It's about the energy you're connected with. It's about the connection with other people. It's about a celebration. It's about a galvanization. If you're on the sidelines right now and you're not with Real, I want you to find me on Instagram. I put it on every one of the slides, just Real Erik Hatch, and just say, Erik, how can I feel Real's culture? And we'll invite you into some of our weekly calls, and we'll invite you into local gatherings. And I'll make sure of it. Mark my words, I'll make sure of it, that you can feel the culture before you make the decision. Again, top secret. I won't tell a soul, but if you're there saying like, how do I feel what this place is like? Because that for me was the clincher. Once I felt it, I couldn't deny it anymore. I recognized I found my tribe and my sandbox, and it was fantastic, and it continues to build upon that. So this is your open invitation. These three gentlemen, I've made mention of their names. I haven't talked about Pritesh. Pritesh is the guy that is leading the charge with all of our tech. These three gentlemen are difference makers in my life. If you were to put a Mount Rushmore of people up there, I bet these guys would be on there for so many of us, because speed of the leader, speed of the pack. Tamir is so fascinating because he's the CEO, but he's also one of the most soft-spoken, humble, kind people you'll ever find. Sharon is probably the best galvanizing, brilliant mind of this entire industry. And if you don't know him yet, you will say, I've never met somebody quite like Sharon. He is fascinatingly good. Pritesh is the brilliance behind the tech. I don't even think like Pritesh. I just sit back and marvel at him. And so you need to hear this. And I put the quotes on the page here, is that Real is the foundation. Okay. If I went to a brokerage, let's say I went to ABC brokerage, they're going to have a box for me to live in. We have all this figured out. And so you need to live in this box. You need to follow these rules. When I joined, they said, well, what are the rules in North Dakota and Minnesota, the states we operate in? And I said, well, the rules are this and this. And they said, well, that's our rule as well. Real wants to be the foundation that we build upon. We don't need to live in their box. They're just the foundation. It's the vehicle. It's not the destination. And so I am passionate as the day is long for you to understand that the way in which this company is set up is that you get to choose your own adventure. Do you remember those books? Because those books are really special. Okay. The books are like this. On page 83, if you want to go to Tahiti, go to page 83. On page 87, if you want to do X, Y, or Z, right? Like it tells you a different adventure to go on. Those are the choose your own adventure books that I read as a kid. And that's what Real is for me. It allows me to choose if I want to do rev share or not, and if I want to do agent attraction or not. It allows me to choose if I want to be connected and trained every day, or I can just do my own thing. It allows me the choice of being who I want to be. I don't need to be anybody else. I can be uniquely Erik, ginger-haired, bald-headed Hatch. I can be that guy and choose that adventure every single time. And so you get to choose your adventure, and Real is just the vehicle to get you to where you want to be. Gang, I'm almost done. Don't worry. You need to understand these things though, okay? Have you looked down your road far enough, or are you only seeing the transactions you need to do today? Because it was 2.5 years ago that I looked down. I saw the industry was changing. I saw that My team needed to win more. I saw that my agents weren't financially making the right decisions in terms of putting money away and setting themselves up for a giant win. Am I looking down the road far enough to say, do I need willable rev share to change my future? Am I connected with the right people? Do I have the right tech? Am I in all these things? Am I looking far enough down the road? Because I'm 43 years old right now. And do I see who I need to be when I'm 63? Some of us have 40 years left. Some of us have 4 days left, and we don't know where it is in the difference. But are we looking far enough down the road to set ourselves and our family members and our team members up for eminent success? Sharon says that there's the old adage that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. But when you find kindred spirits, you can go fast and go far. And for me, that's what I found at Real. I found kindred spirits. I'm going to go fast. I'm going to go far. And I see who I need to be for my team and my family. Yes, it was a painful step. That first step, any change is always painful, but I saw that I got to take that step, and it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to suck. But we got through the suck. We've got through the stuff. And now I and we are winning so mightily. So I'm going to leave these questions up here. Maybe you have some of these questions. Maybe I have some of these questions still. I don't know where you are on the journey. If you're ready to come to Real right now, if this is a brand new intro to you, if you're just a hater that's watching this, you're still a fan because you're taking the time to watch it, and I appreciate it. If you're somebody that's at Real and wanted to find a couple articulation pieces, I know I didn't talk about everything, but I'm talking about the things that I saw and the things that I get to communicate with amazing people every day. If you're thinking far enough and long enough, I don't know why you wouldn't consider a company like this. So the matter and the question is, do you feel it? Do you see it? Does this align with your soul? The idea to work hard and to be kind. I want this to be your call to action. Simply find me on Instagram. And if you want to feel the culture, if we can invite you into some things so you can look, taste, touch, feel, smell, and see all these things, simply find me. I'm here to support everybody that's at Real. I believe wholeheartedly in One Real as the core of what you do, or at the core of what we do. And so this idea of One Real means that I don't have to be your sponsor. If you don't have a sponsor, I'd love to be your sponsor. But if you're connected with someone, I want to endorse them and I want to help them to win. I want you to be connected, because guess what? You get me when you get Dave, and you get me when you get Justin, because we're a team together in this. This One Real idea is huge, and I will win when you win. So I'm going to press pause here. I want to hear some scathing rebuttals, some pushbacks, some objections that people have. I'll press record when I'm going to answer it so we can share it on YouTube. But those of you watching live, thank you for taking the time to tune in. I hope this has been valuable for you. I'd love to get some feedback. Put it in the chat. Again, I'm the only person seeing it, but I want to hear some objections as well. And I want to do everything I can to help answer the questions you have. Final call for those of you watching. If you're on the fence right now, I can only say for me, when I was on the fence, I took a leap of faith based on what I felt, what I saw, and who I was surrounded by. It has not been silky smooth the entire time. Real is not a 10 out of 10 company. And yet I'm a part of something now that is striving every day to improve the lives of agents and our clients. I'm a part of something that is financially paying me in a way in which I never expected possible. I'm introducing this company to people all the time that's helping to change their lives. But it takes that step. And some of you need to take that step. Some of you need to develop that courage, because where you're at right now doesn't check all the boxes. And for me, Real has checked the boxes. So here is a question. Moving my entire brokerage seems like a massive pain. How would you say it's worth it? That is a really great question. Thank you to the person that asked that. Moving my entire brokerage seems like a massive pain. I'll be honest. It is a massive pain. There's no doubt about it. Moving an entire brokerage. We moved a brokerage of 55 people over. And the fear is, am I going to lose people? The industry average will say, if you move a brokerage or a large team over, you're changing from KW or independent or Remax on over. When you make that change, is it painful? Yes, it's painful. Learning new systems, finding new rhythms, operating in an app that you've never operated in before, figuring out what to do with earnest money, all those things, it is a pain. But so is staying the same. The problem is some of us are suffering a slow death and we don't realize it. That's a dramatic thing for me to say, okay? But I'm going to at least hang on that for a moment. Is some of us are suffering a slow death where we think we have it figured out. So let me ask these questions. And I had them earlier in this presentation. Do we believe the industry has changed over the last 3 years? Do we believe that agents should have more ownership? Do we believe that agents would benefit from having a network in which they get trained really well? Do we believe that we should do everything within our power to help our brokerage and our agents win? If remaining the same and answering those questions are parallel, and you shouldn't consider real. But if you can answer honestly that you believe that the industry is changing, you believe that there is opportunity out there for people to create better wealth than remaining where you're at, not through the pain of today. If you just look at the pain of today, you never move. My boy, Robbie T, my partner at Hatch Coaching, says this. He's the lead conversion king of the world, as far as I'm concerned. Right now, with interest rates at 7 and 8%, every buyer is like, shoot, I don't want to move. Like I see that I should, but it's painful right now. It's going to be painful to have a 7 or 8% interest rate. It's painful to pay inflated prices. It's painful. It's painful. It's painful. And they'll list off all these reasons why it's painful. And what Robbie does is he simply says, boy, I understand that it's painful right now. Yeah, these things are certainly happening. Tell me again what had you looking at homes in the first place. And he brings it back to the core question of what had you looking in the first place. And so let me say to you, what had you want to get into real estate in the first place? My guess is it's that American dream of making more and working less. We, of course, love working with people. We love the freedom and the opportunity that it presents for us when we're out there. We love energy, but gang, are you going to be in production forever? And what happens when you get out of production? How are you going to retire? What are you going to hang your hat on? See, if we see down the road and we see that we probably don't have a saleable business. I grew my brokerage to a $7 million GCI business. I grew my team to 1,024 transactions in a year. And I could bring that in that current form of at the top of the top, I could bring that to somebody. And in today's market, nobody would buy that business. And so what's my plan to make more and work less? What's my plan to actually support my family and get my time back? Yeah, it's going to be painful today. No doubt about it. But are you missing out on the opportunity? Because the value is real is going to be here in 10 years and you can still make that change. But the urge I feel right now is the opportunity to jump today. It's going to be here in 10 years. You're going to miss out on some of that opportunity. You're still going to win in 10 years. But what about the compounding? I'm not talking about winning by getting in early and the stock going up and attracting a bunch of agents. I'm talking about getting in early and earning that stock on your own production, not even buying, not even attracting agents, just on your own production. What about you jumping in and providing, in a time of instability in the market, giving your people more support, better training, better mentoring, better guidance? Because guess what? If you name Dave a sponsor, you get me a sponsor. This is one real. I heard Theo Vaughn, who's a hilarious comedian. I heard him say recently that nothing changes if nothing changes. And if your business needs to get better, it'll never get better if change doesn't happen. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so for those of you who are thinking, man, I'm at the very, very top. I was at the top when we made the move over. I was at the top of the top of the top. And then guess what? Things changed. People left. And guess what? They're still in my world, which is such a great gift. And I lost a bunch of revenue streams and I lost a bunch of sales because I had people leave. And this market got harder. And magically, I found revenue share at that same time. And magically, I had all these people stay together. So you need to understand at the core of this all that nothing will change if nothing changes. Ooh. Here's a good question, okay? How does real compare to LPT? This person has no interest in EXP. LPT is hot right now. I don't know a ton of it, but I'll do my best to try to answer, okay? LPT started in Florida, and you can choose your own adventure, which I think is really valuable. You can choose to simply pay some flat fees, or you can like a transaction fee per, and there's no cap. Or if you want to take advantage of building your revenue share and your downline, you can do that. So you have options. LPT is only offered in about a dozen or so states, give or take right now. So I think that right now it's too early to tell if LPT is going to be successful. I think, and I hope I've made this clear, that one of the biggest value propositions for being at Real is ownership in the company. That comes through stock that is publicly traded on NASDAQ. And I believe that that's going to grow mightily. I know for certain that LPT is currently not traded publicly. I also know that LPT, the average production per agent at LPT is significantly lower than the average agent production at Real or at EXP. In fact, I'll just speak of Real. I know that Real's average agent production is higher than that at EXP as well. At LPT, what we have to understand is it's really early on, and there could be opportunity that's there. But there also could be danger. Here's what I don't like about the choose your own adventure. Okay. I like the option of choosing your own adventure, but when you get agents who say, I only have to pay a transaction fee, the average agent that's drawn to a 100% brokerage is traditionally somebody who's only selling a couple homes a year. There's an adage of race horses and donkeys. Okay. And I can't speak of EXP or LPT. I'm only going to speak of Real and what drew me to it. You can have a stable full of racehorses, and you put a couple of donkeys in there, and those donkeys will run faster than they ever have before. If you have a stable of donkeys and you put a couple of racehorses in there, those racehorses will soon resemble the asses they're surrounded by. If I want to be healthy, if I want to make millions of dollars, I should probably surround myself with healthy people that are making millions of dollars. And so wherever you choose to go and wherever you're at, I would look around and say, am I surrounded by a network of people that are inspiring me to be who I want to be? Or am I surrounded by people where it's a race to say how few dollars can I actually pay or spend? For me, I found a bunch of racehorses at Real, and they continue to find their way. There are tribes and sandboxes of people that are running businesses that I am envious of. When I stood alone, I was the top of the totem pole. I was the big fish. I thought I had it all figured out. Now I'm surrounded by people who I am envious of their business. I am chasing. I have leaders for me now. It's pretty great. And so if you're looking at LPT or EXP or Remax or KW, whatever it may be, I would look to see who is going to be the influencers of your world. Are you surrounded by racehorses or donkeys? Okay. Another question. I love these questions coming in. Thank you for firing them at me. What is the single most beneficial perk that I found at Real that I haven't seen elsewhere? Boy, I hate the word culture. I really do. But I want to say that culture match. You asked for a single most, but I can't answer it with one. It's culture matched with the model, matched with the buzz. Okay. And I am going to summarize, and I'm going to tell you what that all means. Okay. Like that for me is the perfect transformer. The culture is like early days KW. And I was in at KW 2008 or so, and there was such an energy and a vibe. And people called them Kool-Aid drinkers. And if you were in it, you wanted to be in it. And if you weren't, you kind of hated it. Like that's kind of real right now, and I'm okay with that. There's a really great energy. The model in terms of low fee and high opportunity for ownership and rev share and ownership and mortgage and title and like all these things. I can't find a model that has this much opportunity right now. Literally, there is no other model that can offer what Real is offering today. But this model, even when that early opportunity to get in is gone, I still have ownership in all those things. And then that grows mightily. And then there's the buzz around it. I'm going to take that word buzz, right? What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. And I'm going to call Real moldable clay. I love the idea that this is moldable clay because that means that my fingerprints can be on it. To be fully transparent, this feels like it's my company. I get to share it with 12,000 other owners, but it feels like it's my company, that I have a voice, that I have a say, that I get to help impact the direction of this. I'm a part of something that is bigger and more impactful than I ever understood. And I believe that the character and quality of the company, even when Real is 50,000 agents, will still be moldable clay. I don't know if that exists elsewhere. I went down the rabbit hole and I looked at Fathom and I looked at Side and I looked at EXP. I had offerings of almost $1 million in sign-on bonuses to go to those companies. And Real won every time. Not because of just the model, not just because of the culture, not just because of the buzz and the hype, but because it felt like moldable clay. And I trust my gut and I trust my prayers. And that's where I chose to end up. And I'm now aligned with some of my best friends in the industry and people who I look up to at every turn. So that's the single most beneficial perk that I found at Real. Are there any other questions? Comment. I like this comment. Here's a comment: is in an industry that tends to be surrounded by people and somehow lonely at the same time, finding your people is so important. The person that posted that did the dance on their own for a while and then came to a company in which we're interconnected. And so that comes from experience of having been on the other side. Boy, here's a great question. If I could change anything about Real, what would I change? It's interesting. What I would change would be good for me and not for others. What I would change is I would change the limitations for galvanization. And I'll be very clear with you all that those things are changing right now and they are loosening the reins, as I had made mention to earlier. But I have the fortune to have a microphone and a reach that's large in this industry. And if I got louder without other people getting louder, if I got louder, that would have benefited me and my downline, my financial winnings. I instead have followed the rules of Real, and I'm grateful for it because it has helped me to be better. It has helped my partners to be better. It has helped more wins possible. And that is our galvanization has fallen under a lot of rules and regulations and that sort. Now, as they're loosening the reins, they're gonna break some eggs. But I got to learn the right way. Let me give you an example, okay? I used to work in the ministry, as I mentioned, for about a decade, and I was in my 20s. Imagine putting an entrepreneur loudmouth like me in a ministry with 4,000 people who are my bosses. I ticked off the elders and the leadership of that church like every single day. And what happened was it forced me to mature and it forced me to grow. I wanted to go fast. If you would have said, what would I change about the church when I worked there or even afterwards? Like, I wish they would have loosened the reins for me and let me loose. The truth is, their break kept me from crashing. And their break kept me from doing some things the wrong way. Their break was a gift to me. But if I could have changed it, I would have wanted it my way. I would have wanted a chance to be crazier, louder, more galvanizing. Here's another question. If you're licensed in multiple states, you have the one cap, correct? If you transfer mid-year and they're willing to adjust cap, or they insist you start over. Awesome question. So let me be clear. If you're at, I'll use Keller Williams as an example. If you're at Keller Williams, you pay an individual cap at every market center that you're at. So let's say I'm in Fargo, North Dakota, and Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm going to pay a cap to the market center in Fargo and a cap to the market center in Minneapolis. Double cap. You at Real can be in 10 markets for so much as they carry, and you will still only pay one cap. There's only one set of fees. There's no middleman or middlewoman owners that are there. You're only going to pay one set of fees, which is super advantageous. Now, the other opportunity is if you join mid-year. I can't ever tell you what Real is going to do. Will they defer your cap? Let's say right now it's September 21st and you come over, and where you're at, you're currently capped until January 1st. Will they defer your cap? I don't know. I can't speak on their behalf, but I can point you to the person that you can ask the question to. I'm not the decision maker in that, but I do know that question has been asked before and will be asked again. So I can certainly point you in the right direction. Here's another question. What advice would I give to someone on the fence and is considering all options right now? Boy, really good question. I would need to understand what is it that you're looking for, right? Some people are looking for something that is perfectly established and has it all figured out. And I would tell you that Real isn't probably going to be the place for you. If you're a brand new agent and you don't have a valuable sponsor, the person that you come under, and you're not a startup, go on your own, I'm going to be tenacious and find my way, Real should not be for you, because you probably need somebody to hold your hand a little more. Real doesn't hold your hand. Real provides you with the tools for you to choose your own adventure. If you are currently at a big box brokerage or a mom and pop place where you're paying higher fees, I would tell you, you need to look at probably LPT and EXP and Real. The way I made my decision is I trusted my gut. I saw who were the leaders that I wanted to be associated with. Where was the biggest opportunity for me, not just today, but down the road? Which racehorses am I going to be surrounded by? So those of you that are on the fence right now, considering what move to make, there's 1,000 questions that you can ask, but each of you is going to have your own unique adventures. And I can't choose that for you, but I can answer those questions if you're not already tied to somebody at Real. Or if you are tied to somebody at Real, fire away, because it would be our honor to help shape that decision-making process for you. Gang, hopefully we did some good. Hopefully we answered your questions. I got to go bring my kids to soccer practice. So much love to you all. I hope we can continue to partner together and grow Real with one another. And if you can't, I'm still going to cheerlead you wherever you're at. God bless you.